there, look who it is. It's me again. No, I'm joking. I'm Tracy McCain here in the studio. Megan Malaris and Taran Kirksey are laughing with me from home, and I hope you are enjoying your day as well. Thanks for joining us here on After GMS. It's a moment for us to kind of kick back, have a little bit more fun, say some things that maybe we wouldn't say on the main channel because we can get away with more online. Maybe. We'll see. But Taran, one thing we can't escape, these muggy temperatures, is my word.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's all around us, right? The humidity is just kind of stuffy out there right now, but we will get a break from the humidity for at least a day as we're going into Friday. In the meantime, today, scattered showers and storms. Not going to rain everywhere. In fact, some of us will stay completely dry and may even see a little bit of sunshine at times. The chance of rain at your house, 40 to 50% with highs in the mid 80s. Cold front moves through later today, and then that'll usher in lower humidity for Friday, lots of sunshine, high temperatures in the low to mid 80s before the humidity starts to creep back in through the weekend into early next week. We'll put the chance of rain Saturday right around 20%. So Saturday, essentially a generally dry day. And then Sunday, rain chances go up to 40%. And we'll keep the rain chance in the 40 to 50% range as we go from Monday on through at least Wednesday, with high temperatures early next week, probably only in the 70s.
All right, at 7:46, let's check your news headlines this morning. Ace Speedway owners and state health leaders will be in court at 9:30 this morning. It comes after Governor Cooper ordered the racetrack to shut down and the state filed a temporary restraining order. Ace Speedway opened up over the Memorial Day weekend and has had several races with hundreds of fans, many more than the state's 25-person limit on outdoor races. The conversation around reopening continues as North Carolina saw another record high day of people fighting COVID-19 in hospitals. 780 people were in North Carolina hospitals as of the last update yesterday afternoon, topping the previous 2 days' records. The state reports there is about 25% hospital bed space available to potentially accommodate more COVID patients. And no final decision yet, but Jacksonville, Florida could be the new host city for the Republican National Convention this August. A tweet from a Washington Post White House reporter suggests the president might visit North Carolina, Oklahoma, Florida, and Arizona in campaigning. A president's campaign spokesperson recently said the president will resume in-person campaign rallies in the next 2 weeks. Remember, the convention was originally supposed to happen in Charlotte, but the president was at odds with Governor Cooper in wanting a fully capacity convention. And NASCAR has officially banned the Confederate flag. This applies to NASCAR races and any NASCAR-owned properties. It comes after driver Bubba Wallace brought the idea back up earlier this week. A lot of you talking about this on our Facebook page. You can continue weighing in.
All right, let's get you involved in this big conversation about the next school year. We're waiting to see what state education leaders will decide when it comes to school this August. A lot of people want children to go back to school. A lot of parents are like, I'm going to keep them home. But the goal is to get kids back in the classroom. It will look differently because of coronavirus, of course. So I wanted to know, do you prefer in-person school or e-learning? A dozen or so, hundreds of responses came into my Facebook page. We heard from Tracy saying, she kept it simple, saying remote learning. Donna Humphrey says, my son will be a senior in the fall. He misses school as well as his social life, but I still don't think it's safe. Teresa Brown Park says, I think that my kids should be in school. I liked the remote learning, but it was stressful getting them to do the work. And Rhea says, I think that parents should have the choice. If they want to let their children go, then fine, but if not, let the ones that want to continue the remote learning at home. Wow, yeah, a nice mixture of votes there and responses. Taran, what if parents did have the option next year to say, yeah, I'm going to send, my kids to school, or I'm going to keep them at home?
Yeah, you know, I think the option would certainly be nice to have. People like to have options, right? You and Megan made a good point, though. You know, at certain ages, those kids might not be able to handle independent learning. But I do believe, at a certain point, maybe that's sometime in middle school or something like that, if there's some students that prefer to work in quiet environments, maybe at home, if that's possible for them at their house, then they should have the option to do that and not be forced to go into a building, just like, the kids that would prefer to be in a louder, more social setting shouldn't be forced to be out of the classroom. But I think all of that is, for after we're past the COVID-19 issue. Right now, if there's a way to do both in a safe way, that might be the best option to, have a safe environment for them in class if they want to be there, or have them stay at home if that's something they like to do, or something that is better for health purposes right now.
Yeah, because some children have asthma or other conditions where their immune systems could be compromised, or they could be at risk for any small thing, as much as a cold, to something as large as coronavirus. So you definitely have to take those things into consideration. Megan, where do you kind of see this going?
Gosh, this is going to be so hard for the State Board of Education to figure out how to do this, especially if there is a level or some kind of e-learning that's going to be required of students this coming fall. I mentioned earlier the age situation. A lot of students cannot log themselves on without parental help, to Canvas or whatever these programs require them to do to submit assignments. So you have that concern. Also, not all students have access to internet or the technology required to complete these assignments. So you have to make that across the board, implement some kind of standard as far as technology and internet access. I'm wondering if local libraries are going to have to get involved in this and helping students who don't have internet. Obviously, then they would have to space them out in the library. And then what do you do with parental supervision? Speaking of parental supervision, that's another issue to figure out. Employers are probably not going to be as flexible in the fall with allowing adults to work from home. So when the adults aren't at home, who's supervising the children who are at home e-learning?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to consider there, because childcare and child safety at home has to be top priority. And you as a parent cannot leave your child under a certain age at home alone. So that will also have to be into consideration. I know that when we heard from the governor earlier this week, he said that he was looking at more of like a combined e-learning and in-person learning solution, with some modifications if, there is a second wave of coronavirus, or maybe a third or fourth, I don't know. But if there's another wave of coronavirus, then they could modify it to all e-learning, or if you're in the clear by this school year, then he could say, all in person. So I think that it's very much in the air right now, but a lot of people want to have an answer pretty soon, because we are in June. And school, if you think about it, is only 6 to 8 weeks away. So I want to get to some of the folks who are weighing in on our Facebook live stream right now. Margie says, till it's safe, I feel that kids should continue to learn at home. This COVID-19 is no joke out here, she says. Precious says virtual learning for her. Cindy says in person, but didn't give an explanation why. Melanie says, with the numbers climbing, it's scary to want to send the little people back to school, because let's face it, how many of the smaller kids really understand 6 feet apart, or why exactly they can't be near their buddy all day, or even at lunch or playtime? The other kids maybe, but there are so many on buses and in classrooms, it's impossible to distance. That's a great point. Sylvia says that she would prefer in-school learning. And Deborah says her daughter is sick, so she can't be around other children, nor can she go back. So there's definitely a lot to consider. I would suggest that as parents who are concerned about this, make sure that you contact the State Board of Education like pronto, because they're going to be talking about this today around lunchtime. So we want to make sure that, your voices and your opinions are heard. I'm sure many of you have already been doing this, but they have a lot to consider. And if they don't know everyone's situation, then it may not even be an issue for them. So something to consider. Megan, did you have something you wanted to add?
You know, just reading these comments here, a lot of folks say just get kids back in the classroom. And again, just the point that a viewer made that you mentioned, Tracy, about the teachers. Already we've covered in recent years stories about teacher shortages. If you have to space kids out in the classrooms, they're going to require more classrooms available. Where do you find that space in the existing buildings that already need renovations? We've heard about those stories also in recent years, these push to try to revamp the buildings themselves. So a lot to consider, and I'm really interested to see what comes out of this meeting today. We'll be keeping you updated at noon.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to some reopening news this morning. Anyone have road trip plans to national parks this summer? Well, California's Yosemite National Park is now back open. The park opened Thursday after being closed for 2.5 months. Guests will be limited. The National Park Service says about half of the amount of guests that normally visit this time of year will be allowed in. Back here in the Triad, the Greensboro Science Center will reopen next week. Monday and Tuesday are for members only, and it reopens to non-members Wednesday. Only the aquarium and zoo portions will be open. The other more museum-like features will stay closed. Reservations will also be required. And the North Carolina Zoo will open next week as well. Guests will be allowed inside starting June 15th. The biggest change, you have to reserve tickets ahead of time, and only 2,000 guests will be allowed in at one time. No walk-up entry is allowed, and this is how the zoo will manage the capacity restrictions. A few things will remain closed inside the zoo, including the playgrounds and some indoor enclosed exhibits. You are encouraged to wear a mask while at the zoo, but it is not required. So once you feel more comfortable going out into crowds, we want to know, where would you go first? That is the topic of our second conversation. I actually have to think about this. Taran, have you had a moment to kind of ponder this question?
Yeah, I think, you know, aside from, you know, restaurants that we try to patronize and things like that, as far as just kind of going out, maybe a park, even though some of those have been opened, you know, the North Carolina Zoo would be a nice place to go after things open back up, you know, just kind of, it's outside, you have a little bit of a space in between people, so I think that might be a place that I would consider.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I like that. How about you, Megan? If you are ready to get out there, where would you go?
So I plan to go to the North Carolina Zoo. We mentioned, obviously, as of this morning, the zoo plans to reopen next week, and they're doing timed entries, so you can log on to the zoo's website and reserve a time slot for any time in the next several weeks. So I went ahead and reserved a time slot for me, my husband, and Christian in the next couple of weeks. And obviously, if we get to that point and the numbers aren't looking good and there's new concern about spread, I'll cancel it. But it's making me excited to at least have that to look forward to. And I'm really hoping that with the precautions in place that some of these venues have put in place, like the zoo, that we'll feel safe and can enjoy ourselves while we're there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love being at home. I didn't know how much I loved being at home until I was forced to stay at home. You know, I'm so busy going out here and there, I was anyway, and I just kind of let everything else kind of lead me in a direction. And now that those things aren't available to me, I just love being home. So I can't even think about where I would want to go because, you know, delivery is available. UPS is always on time. You know, I'm fine. I'm fine. But at the same time, I can understand everybody's itching to like kind of do something. But for me, this has just been great quality time. Great quality time. So I'm going to turn it to our live stream here. A lot of people are still talking about the school decision because it is one of the hot topics. But here's Sarah, who said she also enjoys being home. It's just, you know, something about it. There's an earlier comment way at the top of our stream who said that they couldn't wait to go back into a bar. You know, probably just the conversation and people is enough, right? You know, you never know who you're gonna meet at the bar. Sharon also says that she loves being home too. But if you guys have anywhere that we're not thinking about that you would want to go and enjoy at the first opportunity, let us know. Meg, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, so I just have a comment about restaurants. Obviously, we've seen some restaurants start to reopen with precautions in place, capacity restrictions. I was really nervous to go to a restaurant, but I did try it recently. My husband and I and the baby went at a really off time, like a late lunch, early dinner, so hardly anybody was there. We made sure to call in advance and pick a restaurant that had a large patio that was spaced out and request a table by the exit just in case we felt uncomfortable and wanted to leave. And so it was a really pleasant experience. All the servers had masks on. I've been seeing paper menus so that they're disposable after you eat. So I was pleasantly surprised and I felt safe at our restaurant experience recently.
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm glad that you're sharing that experience because I haven't had that experience. I have not gone. You know, my children, they're 2 and 4. They don't like to wear masks.
Yes.
I have them for them.
Right.
They do not like it. And so I feel like if I'm somewhere and I'm wearing a mask, then so should my children. And if they're not going to wear one, then guess where we're going to be? Home. So we haven't done, and actually the few times that I've worn one, like, you know, as I'm getting ready to leave or something like that, they're like, why do you know, I don't want you to wear that. They'll make me take it off. I think it scares them a little bit. And I'm trying to keep this time a little like normal as possible for them without having to like signal that there's something wrong with, you know, the world right now. Even though I've talked to them about, you know, there's a lot of people that could be getting sick and, you know, and I've explained it to them.
Right.
You know, that mask is like a sign that this isn't normal. So, you know, as long as they refuse to wear it and I can't make them for some reason, they're just like, I'm not wearing that. I'm like, what's this? They're not comfortable. So I just stay home. But you know, but I'm glad that you shared that experience because I too one day would like to have that experience. So great perspective, Megan. All right, Taran, let's close out with a look at the forecast.
All right, today we'll see a couple of showers and storms out there. Not going to rain everywhere. It'll still be warm and muggy with highs in the mid 80s. Cold front moves through later on today, and that'll usher in some pretty nice weather for Friday. Lower humidity tomorrow, lots of sunshine, highs in the low to mid 80s. And then the humidity will go up again through the weekend into early next week. And as the humidity goes up, our rain chances will go up as well. Small chance of an isolated shower or storm Saturday. Better chance of scattered showers and storms Sunday on through at least Wednesday. That's a good last look at your forecast.
Hey, there's Friday looking nice.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We'll take it. I'm like, of all that on the 7-day, I was just like, oh wait, what, Friday's dry. Oh, that's the day I like. All right, thanks so much for joining us here on After GMS. We enjoy the conversations with you every day and your participation. We will see you next time. That's tomorrow at 7:45 right here on Facebook Live. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.